New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams. NYC.
Woo! What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time show. Here giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. And we're late because my computer crashed. Wolves internet dropped, but we here trying to give you whatever else is left of the show before the tip off. So if you're here enjoying the KOT show right before the game, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Hopefully Raw will get his computer situation together and join me a little later as we talk this upcoming game, Knicks versus Timberwolves. All right, cool. So I'm not gonna waste any time because the game just started. So let's just get into it. And I'm gonna start off. This is how I'm gonna start off. I'm going to harken back to a moment in time last season when the Knicks faced the Timberwolves, and this is what happened. Let me just jog your memory. At Anthony Edwards' post-game interview, Knicks versus Wolves.
Kind of take us through that very last defensive possession and how you guys got this one home.
We told Jaden, try not to let Randall catch the ball. We're gonna make somebody else beat us. And
game?
Gladly RJ Barrett caught it, and if he would have made the shot, we would live with it. I mean, because that's who we wanted taking the shot. We didn't want anybody else taking it.
Shots were fired at RJ Barrett. I guarantee you RJ has this game circled ever since last year, ever since they made that comment. So I'm watching that lineup very closely, or that matchup very closely. Actually, for me, I actually rather have Cam play versus Anthony Edwards, but there will be times where switches will happen, picks will happen. RJ will end up on Edwards, and I'm looking forward to that matchup. But before I get to that, let's just look at these stats real quick. And here's the thing. Both of the teams right now, very mediocre. Offensive rating, 17th and 19th. Defensive rating, they're 9th. We're 17th. Net rating, 17th to 12th. Points per game, pretty even. Rebounds per game, got them beat, but still pretty even. They moved the ball around. Field goal percentage, they got us beat. 3-point percentage, dead even. So first thing I'm really noticing is the 3-point shooting that killed us versus the Celtics shouldn't hit us as hard this game. It shouldn't hit us as hard this game. At least that's what we think. But here's the thing. There's been a matchup mix-up because, as you know, Rudy Gobert is out today for COVID symptoms. So he's out on health and safety protocols. So these Wolves will be having a small ball lineup, which means we will see Cat start off at center. So this makes things interesting. This makes things very interesting because here's the thing. During this season for the Wolves, as you know, the Wolves added Gobert. They traded Patrick Beverley, some other pieces. But ever since Gobert has arrived, they've been having problems kind of fitting Gobert into what they do. It's kind of look clunky. Their best lineup doesn't really include Gobert and Cat in the same lineup. They're still trying to figure that out. Their best lineups have Gobert separated from Cat. So even though Gobert is not in the lineup today, it might help them because it seems like they figured out some synergy on how to play a little bit smaller. So keep a lookout for that. We have to keep a lookout for that. On the flip side, the Knicks are also missing Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, Isaiah Hartenstein has allowed us to score a lot more points recently. Fred Katz recently posted that we score more points with Hartenstein in the lineup, but subsequently we give up more points than we score. So defensively, we have struggled with Hartenstein in the lineup. So before I even get to the Anthony Edwards versus RJ Barrett matchup, the Hartenstein Cat matchup might be interesting to look at, right? As me switch these stats off real quick, because obviously Karl Anthony Towns versus Hartenstein, Karl Anthony Towns has the edge, but it depends on which Karl shows up. The Karl that's been showing up for the Timberwolves so far hasn't been shooting as many threes, but also hasn't been in the post that much. For me, with Isaiah versus Cat, I would like Cat to stay outside, because when Isaiah is down in that block, he's been having trouble guarding bigger guys. He's been having a lot of trouble guarding bigger guys. Well, for me, I think I want Cat to kind of stay outside, but there's still some danger in that. There's still a lot of danger in that, because that means the other guys on our team has to do their job. But the good thing is, for the other guys on this team, this starting lineup so far, or the Wolves in general, they really have not shot a lot of threes per game, and they haven't hit a lot of threes per game. Number one culprit of going cold from three is D'Angelo Russell. If you're looking at D'Angelo Russell's stats, and I don't have those pulled up right now, but I can pull it up for myself. He's shooting 27% from the three-point line, and I believe 35% from the field. Having a horrible season so far. It can go up, but I do feel like Jalen Brunson versus D'Angelo Russell going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a tough matchup for D'Angelo Russell, and I think I don't think the 3-point shot might return to him today. I'm hoping, for me, the Knicks looked at the Celtics Knicks game, and they tweaked that. They tweaked that, and they fixed the 3-point defense. Because if you've seen, shout out to Nick's Twitter, who's done a lot of work. A lot of the breakdowns from our 3-point defense has to do with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle actually not communicating most of the time on pick and pops. So that must be cleaned up. And if I know Tom Thibodeau, I know some of you guys are like, oh, Tom Thibodeau, he's not a good coach. He can't coach defense. Tom Thibodeau is a defensive coach. We have been top 10 in defense ever since he's been here. And for guys who are worried about his defense, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. We started off slow defensively before and picked it up and been top 10 by the end of the season. So even though it might take some bumps and bruises, eventually by the end of the year, our defense usually gets together. So I fully believe that at some point, our 3-point defense will start to come around, especially knowing that Evan Fournier will not be in that starting lineup anymore. So our defense should look better eventually. But Jalen Brunson versus D'Angelo Russell, no contest. Jalen Brunson over D'Angelo Russell. And also, I don't expect D'Angelo Russell to burn us from three like the Celtics did before. All right. Now, when it comes to Cam Reddish versus Anthony Edwards, Anthony Edwards this season has taken a step. He's taken a step. He's shooting more threes. He's being more efficient. He's had one bad game so far, but Anthony Edwards has taken a step this year, so this will be a tough matchup. But I do believe this is a matchup that Cam Reddish can definitely handle. His length has really bothered the guys on the Celtics, and I've expected to do the same for Anthony Edwards. And I hope that this is a game where our starting lineup actually looks to involve Cam Reddish in the offense a lot more frequently, because Cam Reddish has always been, well, it has been in the last few seasons, a pretty good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. You know what I mean? Also, we can catch Anthony Edwards napping. We can catch the Timberwolves napping in general. The knock on them so far is they tend to fall asleep sometimes. And this Knicks team, if we play like we did at the beginning of the season, where we was moving the ball, when we was pushing on makes and misses, we can absolutely beat this Timberwolves team. But we have to stay disciplined in our ball movement and our running off of makes and misses, because this is a team that can be lackadaisical. Ever since they lost Patrick Beverley and those guys, they don't have that same hunger. They don't have that same hunger. Salute. Christopher Hernandez, is Sims starting? Hold on. I'm seeing somebody say Sims is starting. Is Sims absolutely starting in the chat? If Sims is starting, somebody please verify that, because that can change a lot. Because I actually love the idea of Sims starting on Karl Anthony Towns, because Sims is the guy, like I said before, Isaiah Hartenstein can score a lot more buckets, but he's slow of foot. He's slow of foot, and sometimes he tries hard, but he doesn't realize that because he tries so hard, he commits fouls. And he also struggles against big, longer guys. But Sims has the quickness and the strength to be able to keep up with guys on the perimeter, and has the strength to kind of hold on the post sometimes. So if Sims is starting like you said, gunshot to Tibbs. I don't know what's happening with Tibbs with his newfound flexibility. I don't know if this is a front office doing, but I really like Tibbs pulling this move if we have Sims starting. That changes a lot. That changes everything. Kudos for Tom Thibodeau and the front office if that's exactly what's happening. All right. All right. But yeah, as I was saying before about Cam Reddish versus Anthony Edwards, I fully expect Anthony Edwards to get his. But best case scenario for the Knicks, Cam Reddish shuts him down, makes it tough, and maybe Anthony Edwards does score 20 certain points, but he doesn't have the efficiency that he's had a few games. We already see what Cam Reddish has done against the Celtics, and hopefully he can carry that on. All right. Now, Kyle Anderson versus RJ Barrett. Kyle Anderson, if you watch Kyle Anderson was a guy on the Spurs who moves in slow-mo. So he's sneaky good. It's the funny thing to me is when people talk about how RJ Barrett can't be effective because he doesn't have athleticism. Kyle Anderson is one of those guys. He is not the fastest guy, but he knows how to sell fakes. He knows how to be crafty. He knows how to go to the hole, and he can shoot a little bit. So you have to watch out for Kyle Anderson. And I fully expect RJ Barrett to get the best of this matchup. I've been noticing RJ Barrett shooting kind of going up. If you've noticed too, if you go on Clean the Glass and you're looking at his 2-point percentage, his 2-point percentage on Clean the Glass is up to 63%. Gunshots for RJ Barrett. This is the highest it's been this season. It's actually a positive. It's usually a negative. So RJ Barrett is finding his touch in that at the rim in that low mid area. Today, matching the Timberwolves. With Karl Anthony Towns not being the most defensive guy, I can see RJ Barrett getting into the paint and starting to, do some more work. Also, I can see RJ Barrett overpowering Kyle Anderson today. And I see his RJ Barrett shooting, even though he's been missing a lot from three before the Celtics game. I've noticed that the form has looked better. He's looked more calm shooting those threes. He's looked more squared up to the hoop shooting those threes. And there's been a lot of in and out. So for me, I fully expected the threes to start to drop because it's even though he's missing, it's looked really good. And during that Celtic game, we actually start to see it drop. So hopefully that continues. And I think it will continue today versus Kyle Anderson. I fully believe that RJ Barrett will get the best of him. Now, Kyle Anderson can play defense, though. He's a versatile defender. So, it won't be that easy. But I do feel like between the defensive liability of Debo versus Jalen Brunson, I feel like Jalen Brunson is going to get RJ Barrett some easy looks today. I feel like he's going to give some easy looks today and then get him going. And then RJ Barrett is going to have another monster game. And I feel like he's going to have a 20-plus game today. That's just me. All right. Yo, the Shells. Yeah, I see Sims. Yo, Sims and Cam is starting. Knicks Nation is happy, man. It's like Knicks Twitter is coaching today. They got Cam starting. We got Sims starting. This is what I like to see. Man. I love it. I love this matchup. I'm actually more confident now that Sims is in the starting lineup because he sorely missed his defense. And he had a small stint on the 76ers. He's only played 5 minutes, but I felt like the 5 minutes wasn't that bad. Next up, Julius Randle versus Jaden McDaniels. No contest to me. I feel like Julius Randle can beat Jaden McDaniels, but you already know what it is with Julius Randle. He has to get stuff in the flow of the offense. If he starts to get too much ISO, that's when it gets crazy. He needs to start going downhill. He needs to move off the ball. And the key to him also, too, if he starts to make a couple of threes, then you already know it's going to be a long night. For these guys. And funny enough, back to Cam Reddish starting before me and Raw were talking beforehand before the show started, and Raw started to have some internet problems, so he couldn't make it. He was talking about lineups with Evan Fournier versus Cam Reddish, and he said with Cam Reddish in the starting lineup, Cam Reddish versus Evan Fournier was a plus 19 Cam Reddish versus Evan Fournier with the starters. So I think that's going to help us today, especially considering, listen, we're playing a team in the Wolves who really hasn't been that impressive. They're 5-5. They're kind of mediocre like us. They just beat up on the Rockets, but the Rockets is the Rockets. It hasn't been a lot of meaningful wins, So this is a game where I feel like we can definitely take advantage and get that win. And that Cam Reddish start in the starting lineup, I think is going to help us push us forward. All in all, between Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle, I feel like we're going to have the edge with the starters today. When it comes starter to starter, and I think we should win these matchups clearly. Now, for me, the bench for me is interesting. Because we have Kyle Anderson, right? Because Rudy Gobert is out, Kyle Anderson is now thrust into the starting lineup. He's not usually a starter, so they lose a little bit of bench firepower. So when you're looking at the bench, you're not going to get like a deep bench with these guys. And excuse for you guys who are just watching, it's been announced that Sims is playing and he's starting, so some of these names are a little wrong right now. So there's not a huge scoring threat really coming off the bench. We have a bunch of solid guys. We have Taurean Prince we have to look out for because he can shoot threes. But we also have to look out for guys like Jordan McLaughlin. So those are the guys I'm really starting to look out for. And it's not even that Jordan is a guy who's going to score a lot of points for them, right? But when you're looking at the plus minuses and the guys who are effective on the Timberwolves squad, he is the most effective guy on that squad that's been working with different combinations for that Timberwolves squad. So he plays the defense. He gets into the teeth of the offense when he's driving and kicking, and he gets the ball to guys in their spots where they can do stuff with it. He's a pure point guard. He had an 11 assist game the other day, and the Timberwolves fans really rave about his game. So there's not going to be some wholesale substitutions. There's going to be a lot of mixing and matching with the bench, with the Timberwolves bench and the Timberwolves starters. And the same should be for us. So like for us, we already know what we're looking for. We're looking to see Obi Toppin. Had some success with the small ball lineup before Obi Toppin. When Obi Toppin was paired with Julius Randle. Depending on what lineups they use today, we might see some more of that. Hopefully for me, I need Obi to pay attention on defensive end and not get pulled early like he did last game. Also, Emmanuel Quickley. We need Emmanuel Quickley to kind of wake up. I feel like he's playing a little bit too selfish last game, and he was pulled quickly. I need him to stay locked in on defensive end, and he didn't seem like he's locked in like he usually is. But we can have the edge when it comes to our bench, but our bench has been really iffy. And also Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose kind of looks... He's shooting well, but he still looks like he's a little bit rusty. So hopefully Derrick Rose gets it together as well and he knocks some of that rust off. But I feel like Derrick Rose is definitely the X factor. There's nobody on that team who can really keep up with the speed to me. So I think it might be about time for Derrick Rose to actually start to put a game together. Now tip-off just started. And we already see that Sims starts off the game with a block. So you're already starting to see Sims impacting the game. And so I'm liking this move from Tom Thibodeau. Already. But yo, that's my very quick breakdown. I'm sorry that we started so late. Computer problems, computer crashing. But next time we'll try to do this a little bit earlier. Thank you guys for watching. Everybody was rocking with the show. Listen, for everybody's watching the show right now, we will be back after the show. It'll be me, it'll be Lee, and it'll be Ryan G talking Knicks basketball after the show, breaking down the game. So definitely join us after the game to watch the Knicks versus Wolves post-game show late tonight. All right. So that's my very quick breakdown, Knicks versus Wolves. That is the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you guys for being patient and waiting for me. Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.